Muscular, but not brawny. Romantic, but not spineless. Witty, yet modest. Well, that's enough about me. Let's meet our next guest. A brave actor who was dangled from a 240-foot crane and has kissed Michael Caine, and of whom John Wayne said he is taking over. Ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Reeve. This will be the third time in this series people will say, is Michael a midget? How tall are you, Christopher?
I'm 6'4".
That's enough. That'll do nicely, yes. Have you actually finally said goodbye to the Superman part?
Well, if we shoot another one, it'll have to be before I need a wig and a corset. I think there's a statute of limitations on that part. You can't come out with the gut hanging over and, you know, sort of the jowls around here, but I don't know. We'll see.
What about the magic of the thing? I mean, the physical, the stunts, etc. I mean, you were filming out there with the public watching, children watching as well.
Right.
Presumably they can see the bits of string and the lights. Are they still as entranced when they see all that?
Well, you know what's funny is that kids will see what they want to see. If they want to see a hero, they'll look at that and completely ignore all the equipment. I remember one time we were shooting live outside a building, an apartment building by the East River in New York, and I was going by on a crane, you know, wires. I was flying by this 7th floor apartment window, and this little kid had come home from school, and he put down his books and he looked out the window and just went, "Hi, Superman." And he had no problem with that, and we kept rehearsing and rehearsing. We were waiting to shoot at night, and I kept flying by the window. I kept going by all the time, and then eventually they sat down to supper and finally said, "Hey, Superman, come on in, we're having spaghetti." You know, he had no problem at all with me being on a crane.
What about your own son?
He's into Luke Skywalker. And he thinks that Harrison Ford, I mean, he's into the Star Wars.
Was he never impressed by you? They seldom are, of course.
Briefly. I mean, he came down to see me shoot a bit of Superman 3 on the set and was a bit confused to see me in that costume.
I can understand one confusion, and that is you've had that sort of split personality of the character anyway.
Right.
I mean, he was the shy and retiring journalist, and then he was dynamic. Was that a problem?
Well, I mean, it's not really all that complicated a characterization. I mean, Clark Kent is basically an outright steal from Cary Grant, and the Superman thing, the clothes really make the characterization. And what I mean by that is there's not that much you can do. I mean, if you're wearing blue tights and this thing with an S and a cape and stuff, one of the problems is there's no pockets, so there's nowhere to put your hands, so you find out of sheer process of elimination you end up going like this, and all of a sudden you're a superhero. So.
Yeah, we're all sitting like this now. Doesn't work.
Got it.
Not quite as good, is it? Because if Jim had been on that film, you'd have to check your flies as well. Are you a great fan of the whole
I
film?
thought, I went to this first one, I thought the effects and everything, I thought it was great. I like going to the pictures. I don't want to go and have messages when I go to the pictures. I don't want to be told, no, I can't stand all that, me. I want to come out and say, oh, I really enjoyed that. And I really did. Escapism, whatever you want to call it, smashing.
But as far as work is concerned, you haven't been content to be the hero, have you? You've done some very offbeat parts since then.
Yeah, excuse me, right after Superman, I kind of went through a phase that I wanted to be as strange as possible, that I really only liked a character if you could be gay, crippled, psychotic, or preferably all three at the same time. And that way I knew I was doing an honest day's work at the set. You know, the tendency to want to see what else you can do. And since that time, I've come back to being a romantic hero when needed. I mean, it's okay. It's fun to do. It's not dumb. It's a very useful kind of thing, and I like it. And I think as I was experimenting, I mean, I've gone up some real strange alleys. I did a movie about a crooked priest. I played a Vietnam War veteran, all kinds of things. Worth doing, but sometimes it's better to really stick with yourself as much as you can.
And you kissed Michael Caine.
Yeah, we called that the $10 million kiss. And the reason was that's about what it cost at the box office when people saw it. They just weren't ready. I had just done Superman 2, and they weren't ready for the idea of Superman kissing another man. The fact that I was playing a psychotic homosexual, and that one didn't really seem to matter. They just couldn't take it. The image was a problem at that time.
He was telling me when he was on the show last series that you had a good drink beforehand and said, righto,
Yeah.
here we go.
It was take one. It was take one, and all the photographers were banned from the set. And both my girlfriend and his wife were on the set, sort of supervising things. And Michael said, "If you close your eyes and put your foot up, I'll know you're in love."
That's great.
And afterwards, he said he never called me. He never, not a letter, not a phone call.
Very disappointing, isn't it? What's the latest challenge?
He's going to kiss you later.
The latest challenge is I recently filmed in Hungary, a film in which I had to learn how to ride a horse very suddenly. 5 days before we started shooting, went out for a practice ride. And this horse, he had a real good night's sleep and was just feeling full of it. I gave him perhaps a slightly too strong a signal to canter, and he took off like a shot. And it was a horseshoe ring, and we went out the open end of it and straight down this dirt track, and I got a scenic tour of Hungary that I wasn't counting on. We went all over the place, and I thought, a couple of choices here. One is, well, there's a hill over to the side. Maybe I can drive him to the hill, but then there's a ditch between the road and the hill. I'll probably wipe out in the ditch, so that's no good. So I thought I'll keep going and let him get tired. And he didn't. And he finally came to a fork in the road. And I said, I've got about a 50-50 chance of getting this right. And I didn't. He faked luck and went right, threw me off the side, and I broke a rib. Wow. And this is 5 days before shooting. So the insurance company, I hope, is not tuned in tonight. But
And you gave a rather stiff performance.
I'm playing a military man, you know, but you know, I was really very sort of held together the first week of shooting.
What a life! You're an adventurous guy. The fantasy we talked earlier about Jimmy in my introduction. I said that Jimmy had fulfilled all his fantasies. And I've always wanted to be a cowboy actor because I've got this rough, tough look. And
We'll buy it, sure.
Wouldn't you like to do that, Jimmy? Isn't that the kind of thing you like to do?
Yeah, appear in a cowboy film?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
What
I mean,
fun.
I think everyone would. Yes, that'd be lovely. Through the swing doors.
Well, I wanted
You know,
to.
it'd be marvellous, wouldn't it? Get out of town. It's just not big enough for the two of us. And he stands up and you go, take it easy now.
But you're an athlete as well, and you're a pilot.
Yeah.
What's the longest trip you've done alone?
Well, I once
On the horse.
Brought to you by the Hungarian Consulate.
Yeah. I couldn't do that. I was speaking backstage to him. I couldn't go up in a glider. I haven't got enough bottle for that. I wouldn't like that, I don't think, at all. No engine to get me down and...
I can imagine the gliding being therapeutic, and I know that another of your pastimes, which you don't talk about a lot, is that you play the piano rather well.
I butcher the classics, yes.
That's therapeutic too. We do have a very nice piano here. You will just tinkle the ivories, will you?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I never developed a classical technique, but I just like to play the piano, so I just sort of mess around with different sounds and things. And I thought tonight I'd play a little thing which is, maybe we'll call it like a cup of cocoa or pipe and slippers or something like that. Something soothing for a Saturday evening.
Right. I'd like to hear it. Good for the Reeve. impressed. For a moment, I could have sworn you were going to play a Rhapsody on a theme of Paganini by Rachmaninoff.
Oh, well, you have to watch Somewhere in Time for that one. No, I thought I'd just play something calming. You know, Billy Connolly's coming on. It's going to get a bit agitated. And I just thought maybe Pipe and Slippers, something soothing, so.
Yeah, and the other great thing about playing something you've written yourself is that nobody knows when you've made a mistake.
Exactly. Good point.
And you didn't, of course. We shall, as you've heard, be back in a moment with the big yin, but for the moment, thank you very much, Christopher Reeve and Jimmy Tarbuck. Thank you.